Hey there critters, this is Logan Underwood. After taking a break for half a year, it's about time I start making this video. I would have liked to post another ASMR for those who have been waiting for my return, but this time I want to focus my attention on something problematic. Since this info has never been open to the public, that no one else knows about it except for me and a few friends, it's about time this gets said. Have you ever known this one guy who you stuck around with for so many years in some community, only to find out they were never your friend to begin with? The dark truth surrounding this user has been swept under the rug and replaced with one narrative many came to believe as the only reason for their departure from the internet. So I'm here to reveal the actual story behind this user's actions. This is the story of InsaneKorean77, the most hated user in the history of a community I was once part of that no longer exists. InsaneKorean77, real name unknown, is a user from Virginia known for making fan art for small-time animator Prince Stickfigure, the creator of Steve and Friends, who had also left the internet for doing some illicit things. I've worked under Prince back in 2016 as a voice actor 3 years before he made his original series. Well, to say it's original would be an understatement if you've been using copyrighted music making some meme references in every episode. Also, look at how he moves his characters around like, oh yeah, sure, I would consider this to be animation. All I gotta do is just go on sunny Vegas, insert this background for this one scene, paste my character onto it, and then pan it around and call it a night. I met Korean back around 4 to 6 years ago on Discord through another server that had deep connection with the previously mentioned user. At first, he seemed almost innocent. He was just a mere fanboy of Steve and Friends that he taught himself to draw in the same art style for his Sona. He would go on to make artwork in the style of Steve and Friends on DeviantArt. The first sign of Korean's questionable behavior began on May 2021 when he sent me a drawing in my DMs of some demon cat OC named Omeranium, who, according to Korean, is based off the character's gross fetish for urine. The name is derived from the mineral plutonium and the Japanese word omarashi, which roughly translates to the action of wetting oneself. I was visibly disgusted by this explanation that I had to tell him to stop talking about it. After scolding him for making something abhorrent and disgusting, he stopped bringing it up in my DMs. And keep in mind, he was 17 at the time he created it. Once he turned 18, that's where he gave himself the green light to keep posting the shit he gets off on. There even came an incident where he drew an NSFW image on a game of Gartic Phone and a minor was there to see it. After what he did, he came to my DMs again and made these 2 drawings in response to that. That's when I started feeling contempt towards Korean. Nobody had tried to make a public call out against him due to his unwavering loyalty to Prince Stickfigure and vice versa. And also because it turned into a conspiracy when no proof was screenshotted. The victim in question had also chosen to let it slide, but after what he saw, his opinion on Korean soured tremendously. It made my head spin at the fact no one, not even the administrators, took action against Korean. Reminder, I don't support this sick bastard in any way, shape, or form. I stayed neutral here since I cared more about keeping my voice role in Steve and Friends. The next part about Korean is what happened after PSF. On May 2025, before James, the real name of the latter, deleted his channel on YouTube, he left behind a will granting ownership of his series to both me and Korean. It was like a dream come true. Now that we were in charge of developing Steve and Friends, we own every character and can produce new episode at any time we choose. Or so I thought. As me and Korean were discussing the future of Steve and Friends, he said something unbelievable. Korean asked to take all the characters in the series for himself, including Logan, whom I have adopted as my Sona, and leave me with only the ones I created. With the excuse that, oh, but those are Jesus characters, remember? And yet you have more priority to own them? This was a huge punch to my gut. Rather than splitting it fair, Korean wanted to take it all, only for his own ambitions. Even worse, while Korean was a long-time follower of James, he made zero contribution to the development of the series. The only thing he has ever done was have his Sona be inserted just for this one scene.
Oh my god, Zoe. I'm so sorry you had to suffer for so long. I'm glad you came out and confessed everything.
Meanwhile, I created a ref sheet for one villain that will appear in the future and produced a short animated video that sets up the plot for the 16th episode and even wrote the script for said episode. Aside from voice acting, I've done a lot more for Steve and Friends than Korean ever did. To have this piece of shit spit in my eye and steal the series' future from us is a huge betrayal. He also brought in 4 strangers into his so-called Steve and Friends empire, who were only there for him to do commissions and art requests, leaving me out of the picture. It's just like George Orwell's Animal Farm. If we were to be compared to the characters, I would be Snowball and Korean would be Napoleon. I would have promised a better future for this series if Korean hadn't been such a fucking cheater. Fast forward a couple months later, Korean would face a lot of scrutiny after he was caught trying to get back with his ex, who too was ousted as a predator. And this all sends us back to the beginning, when I said that this is the sole reason he left. Korean was exposed for sending his ex a video of his crusty feet squishing an insect. Fucking foot videos. And once that was all said and done, he forked over his half of his Steve and Friends rights to another useless person who never did anything for the series as well. And obviously he too was another disgusting individual. I did not approve any of this. And knowing Korean, he still denies the truth that I'm more capable of carrying on its legacy than him. So just like Henry Ford and his company, he let his own greed dictate how the series should be managed and refused to acknowledge my innate talent. Hey, if James ever saw what you were telling me, would he approve of your actions? No, he would not. So I get the last laugh here, and I will forever remain as the true owner of Steve and Friends. Period. And now we move on to the last topic. This is the most polarizing topic that many have dismissed as false information. The story of Korean gets really dark. You know how he made that Omeranium OC 4 years ago? Well, as it turns out, he made that thing because it represents his fetish for pee, a characteristic that he never told me until one friend gave his story narrating his experiences with Korean. Unbeknownst, Korean has been making fetish art featuring characters doing things no sane person could ever create. There was even one time where he drew his own take of one scene from the 16th episode. The original writing that I did on my own has been altered by James just to appeal to Korean's sick fantasies. This is the original plan, and this is what the line was replaced with. Many victims of Korean who have made art for him never consented to his ideas. One such example is when Korean tried to manipulate one artist to go back to making the same fetishy stuff they wanted to step away from, with his excuse being that it was a missed opportunity. Not only that, Korean is also addicted to the story about the birds and the bees. You know what I mean. He went up to one user and told them how happy he was that some Steve and Friends characters got posted on some lewd website that I ain't gonna mention. Then there's him sending NSFW material to another teenager. Twice. Another victim recalls their experience with Korean 3 years ago when Korean quote-unquote coerced them to draw artwork that involves his fetishes. Shares with them a cropped image of a character taking a dump, as well as bringing up his piss and shit OC without consent. Here, a third had an awful lot to say. According to these DMs, Korean sent this victim his stuff when they were 15 years old in 2021. Korean claims that at the time he did this, he did not understand the consequences of sharing this filth to underage users. Not even the original owner of Steve and Friends deemed it problematic. It passed off as a normal trend to the two of them. And to pour salt on the wound, Korean even tried defaming the victim after doing all of that and then got him banned when the latter spammed emojis at him and in other servers. This got so bad to the point that the victim attempted on his own life. One attempt landed him in the hospital. This was the first time InsaneKorean's actions nearly caused the death of somebody. Should the victim have succeeded in their attempts, Korean would have been charged for both second-degree murder and convincing them to end their own life. And now we move on to the most prominent victim who had spent years living under his oppression. Ever since Korean left, this victim has been constantly silenced by people who endorse his behavior and pushed away the evidence as framing Korean. If not for him, Korean would still be lurking around the internet searching for more prey. The victim who was affected the most goes by the name Spice. a small former creator and director of another passion project, AR's World. A misunderstood individual, Spice has spent more than 5 years on the internet under relentless bullying and manipulation by multiple people for things he never did. He joined the PSF community around 2019 to 2020. His interaction with InsaneKorean began on February of 2021 as an ordinary conversation, until May of that same year when Korean decided to take it to an extreme level by offering Spice a look at his collection of inappropriate artwork. Spice was 16 around this time, and this was before one of his parents died. Once that came to pass, Korean posted more of his disgusting art in Spice's DMs while he was still grieving. And here's the thing, Korean was aware of Spice's tragedy. He knew how much he was feeling, but somehow, Korean thought that the best solution to overcoming sadness and misfortune would be to give people adult-rated media and expect them to wank it. Words cannot describe how idiotic he has to be to post that kind of filth to anyone, much worse to a minor, who is going through so much emotional grief after having watched one of their loved ones die. As time moved on, this behavior of his became a common theme, jumping from one victim to another. On the day he got called out, as a last resort to keep his name from being sullied any further, he uses Spice as a scapegoat and shamed him for still being associated with a user named Powerlink64, another creep who had been ostracized in 2021 for drawing cub art and saying the N-word 2 times. And before you jump to conclusions, Spice was not informed of his actions. Despite the story of Powerlink being shared in his Discord server for everyone to see, Spice unfortunately never got to see the document. And so, the truth about Kevin was kept away from him. The reason he stuck around with him for so long is because nobody directly informed him about what this person did. It took 3 years for him to find out what went on. Spice had been criticized for defending him despite having no knowledge of the drama. But really, the only one who would truly support Kevin in my opinion would be this bitch. It was never Spice's fault. Kevin merely controlled him and prevented that information from getting to him. In general, Spice was affected the most due to Korean's actions. He made a punching bag out of a grieving child for his nasty fetish art and sent multiple people to attack him for being involved with people whose history he had no awareness of. Worst off, he pins the blame on others rather than take responsibility for his own actions. This was one of Korean's final messages. Hey, I'm so sorry it had to end like this. We were really good friends and I liked your drawings and memes. I liked when we did watch togethers too. I had a lot of fun with you and the others like Kevin really fucked us all up, says the predatory content thief. Prince Stickfigure became a groomer thanks to him. James groomed someone long before Kevin. Then Luno became a groomer and an utter idiot, and I became an idiotic apologist who may have also done a ton of wrong things I may have forgotten about by now. Oh really? Does this mean you can't recall the last time you sent adult imagery to a child? I just have one last wish. Before I leave Discord and YouTube for good, may I please have one last chat with you? Maybe a two to wrap things up. I am aware that I broke so many people's hearts and I've been unable to sleep properly knowing what I've done. So, if possible, I would really like to have one last chat as my goodbye wish. I know that I f***ed up extremely bad, but as a victim of Kevin's, I don't want anyone to be hurt. Ugh, here we go with the Kevin excuses. Especially if it were the same way that Kevin hurt me. It is possible that Kevin also has a shit ton of other victims that eventually became things like pedos or pedo apologists that I am currently unaware of. Cheese and rice, Korean. The incident revolving Kevin was completely isolated. It had no impact on your selfish, disgusting behavior. You destroyed a suffering individual's life. You stole an animation's future. That was all caused by you. And now you're pinning the blame on others for your deeds? Yeah, there's no way you'll be getting sympathy. You're not being framed as a pedo. You are a pedo. So there you go. It has been confirmed that Korean is not someone to be trusted. He groomed a couple of minors and tried to scapegoat his way out for protection instead of owning up to his actions. Just because he's gone doesn't mean we won't forget what happened. He is the most disgusting individual who not only destroyed his victims' freedom of speech, he ruined a web series' entire legacy. His decisions have sabotaged everything Prince Stickfigure has built. I am convinced that Korean had no intention in working together with me to develop this forgotten series. And you know what? I don't care. If he wants to build a liability and steal credit, well, that's his fault. After witnessing the ridiculous shit he's done backstage, there is no way I could ever forgive him. I don't know if Korean is watching my channel since he left, but if he is, to the person InsaneKorean77, we are all disappointed in you. I am a lot more upset with you because of this. You have toyed with so many people's feelings. If you thought you could get away with it, you're mistaken. All this evidence you see points back to your sick little mind. You tricked your own following into thinking you own everything and spent your own time going up to multiple people to use for your own satisfaction. You were doing unspeakable things behind my back, and once it was your time to face the music, you made the worst decision and dragged your own victim down with you, as well as fool one pedophile into thinking you're the only owner and gave everything to them. This is what happens when you fail to read the fine print. Prince Stick Figure granted ownership to the both of us, not just you. We had our rights to share the whole thing, but you insisted on stealing the license and not give a damn about collaborating. You. While InsaneKorean77 may have been called out for only dating a predator, I believe the course of action taken wasn't enough, so that's why I'm making this video. There is a lot more about the person of interest than people realized. I encourage you guys to spread awareness on what InsaneKorean did in the past. He can't keep getting away with everything he caused, and he certainly won't be returning back online. He may be gone, but he has nowhere to go and will not be missed. That's about it for this rant. I know it's not one I normally post on my channel. This is something I needed to talk about that has been on my mind for a long time. I need to make sure people don't get the wrong idea. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and keep yourself notified for any important updates. I'll see you all next time. Peace.